So, Mr. Hansen, when did the KC Championships come about and how's it been going?
Well, we started the Kansas City Championships here at Blue Springs South. I think it's like 6 or 7 years ago. Might have been 8. COVID kind of messed up what year and series we're in with some of those things, of course, just like it did with everything. But we started our first year. We had 12 bands, and we did a prelims and finals. And kind of that was our format, that everybody kind of would come here and get 2 performances in one day. It was set up where it was pretty early in the season. We experimented, I think, one year where we went pretty late in the season, and then about our 3rd year in, we have come back to being a pretty early performance, pretty early competition for most bands. And ours is normally set up right before our friends across town at the Golden Regiment at Blue Springs High School. They usually have theirs the next weekend, so we kind of have 2 Blue Springs competitions back to back. So
awesome. Yeah. So has Golden Regiment or the Jaguar Pride ever competed in the KC Championships?
No. When we host a marching band event, part of that responsibility is we hire the judges. So like I hired the judges, so it'd kind of be not very ethical for us to compete. Like, I hired you, and you know I want you to make sure that you be sure we win. So that would be super weird. So we host it, we do an exhibition. Usually we still have judges commentary and things like that. This year the Golden Regiment's going to come over. This is kind of more of like a preseason event for them. So they're going to come over and perform just a little bit, and we're super excited. This is their first time coming over to our side of town for our show. So we're super excited. Again, this is kind of their preseason, and their show is kind of what was potentially like the old school. That was the typical first weekend out, was the old school Blue Springs Band Day, and then it has now changed into Golden Regiment Invitational.
Awesome. So I've heard a lot about the bands and the judges that we bring in. Can you tell us a little bit about the judging panel that's going to be there on Saturday? Yeah.
So we have... the panel is usually 7 judges, the way we run it. We run a Bands of America kind of a judging panel. So there's somebody that's kind of listening to individual music, and then the music as an ensemble. Then there's like a visual person that watches our individually on the field, and then there's a visual ensemble. And then upstairs there's kind of 3 judges, 2 in music and 1 in visual, that kind of are taking in the whole package of how does it affect us from a emotional standpoint or from an artistic standpoint, things like that. So those 7 judges evaluate every band's performance. They kind of stay in their little caption or their little zone, and they give it points and stuff like that. And so one of the kind of main reasons that we wanted to have a show at Blue Springs South was really to have very, very high level judges come in. So in the past, we would have, most other shows in our area, just kind of hire some of the better band directors and kind of judges from the area. So if we go to another local Kansas City show, it might be 4 or 5, 6 band directors from the area that are judging that festival or that contest. And so we wanted to kind of go with a completely different format. So we fly almost every one of our judges in from around the country, sometimes from California, from Georgia, from Florida, from South Carolina, and usually a lot from Texas or something like that, Oklahoma, Texas range. So. Well, I can go on with the judges for a second, because let me kind of finish my thought with that. But so when we kind of fly these judges in, part of what we're doing is we're really hiring kind of a national level expertise. And even though it's a super early show, one of the things that they kind of bring to the table is there's different parts of the country, there's kind of different styles of bands. So sometimes they're not even familiar with what Missouri bands look like or sound like. And so they kind of bring in kind of a national perspective into that. They might bring a little bit of their information from their little zone. But we really are bringing in such high level people to evaluate. And so that has really continued to bring a good level of band to our show. So we really kind of bring some of the best even in our little area, in our zone. Like this year we'll have 2 bands from Nebraska coming up. We have one from the southern part of Missouri. We've got some of our Columbia schools come over, and some of the better bands from the Kansas City metro area. So when you kind of combine that, they're going to get a really good evaluation for their student. The band director gets to learn a lot because the judges are going to give them kind of a different commentary or critique or feedback than what they might get in another festival or another show, especially this early. And then between our morning show and our evening show, we have it set up where each band director gets to spend, if they want, they get to spend about 7 to 10 minutes with the music panel and the visual panel to just talk through their show. Like, what were they seeing? Do they have suggestions on maybe what needs to get fixed, or what, did they notice in the show that something, was confusing to them and maybe to have clarity? So it gives us as a director an opportunity to kind of have real-time feedback from a human, not just on a audio recording from them like talking about our show, but we get to kind of ask questions, and that has been a tremendous asset to the directors that have come to our show.
Awesome. Well, we're really excited. Thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, no,
awesome.
It's my pleasure. I can talk band all the time, and especially this show. It's it's really kind of near and dear to me because we started that once I was here, and to be able to continue to do it year in and year out. And this year we have 18 bands, which when we first started we had 12, and we thought that's all we could house. So that was about the maximum. After we did the renovations here a couple years ago to the school, we actually kind of gained some parking lot space, and the whole school setup was a little bit better than it used to be, and so that's allowed us to have a few more bands, and I think it's going to be a great day. We're going to have some weather this year to kind of deal with, and that'll add some to my stress.
Yes.
But the bands will be great, and we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.